Hi, friends. Hello, the world. Welcome back to this episode of the podcast, Tools for Transitioning Humanitarians. And today I want to talk to you about a topic that keeps coming up so often in my conversations with my amazing humanitarians, and the topic of fear of offending someone, especially the loved ones, or especially the coworker, especially the people we care about. And it seems like there is this fear of offending someone, and therefore we continue um, offending ourselves, and how to stop that, basically. So I will give you an example of highlighting one of the examples that I heard yesterday in my session. And I want to use that as a way to illustrate my point of how um, handling it this way is not effective and actually harmful. And therefore, I will suggest solving it in another way. So let's get started. So yesterday I was having a session with one of my amazing humanitarians who have decided to leave the humanitarian world and start her own interior design business. And she's been full on board on it, and she's actually redoing a lot of the things in not redoing, but she wants to declutter a lot of the things and remove a lot of the things from the past that she finds unnecessary. And one of the ways is also moving out of her place where she is and find another place to move to. But she has been, so she lives with her daughter and with her brother, who's been divorced, who has three children, but the children live with the mother, and he's been living with her for the last 2 years. In the meantime of finding his own place, his own work, and all the things, right? So she was telling me the question is of how not to offend him and ask him to leave, basically, because she was the way that she was going to solve this is by not really talking to him, but rather talking to her mom, hoping that her mom will be a mediator, and then explain to him that she wants to live on her own and she wants to have her restart her life with her daughter. And she was hoping that that would be a solution. She was also hoping that maybe she will just invite the realtor to the house, to the apartment, and then seeing the realtor, he will just understand the message that she wants him to leave. Um, but she wasn't also sure if that will really message to come through, right? So there are a lot of this overthinking of how can I handle this? If I say something, he will be offended. He will be thinking that I didn't really support him, even though she had been supporting him for so long. And all of this like turmoil around what to do. And and then the way that I want you to see the consequences of this type of handling fear, right, is where like the consequences of this is that she has been resentful for a long time, living with him and taking care of him and all the things without ever saying anything to him because of fear of offending him, right? So that's one thing, is that she's been resenting all this time and not being honest with him, at the same time not really liking him, or not really like feeling like it shouldn't be happening this way, but still continue tolerating it. That's like, I think, the one of the biggest consequences that we create for ourselves is when we handle things out of fear, is we continue tolerating things that we actually don't want to tolerate, or we continue being dishonest with ourselves and with the other person out of fear again, right? So handling anything out of fear is not a good thing, except if it's about our physical safety. If it comes to physical safety, fearing and acting from fear will always help us, and that's amazing. But in other social situations, in relationships, in work situations, handling anything out of fear is never going to lead us to anywhere good. So that's why I want you to see from this example of how her keep overthinking about it, how trying to find different like indirect ways to send him the message without really doing that directly. Keep tolerating, keep feeling resentment, keep feeling like she's powerless because she needs to always like take care of his feelings, be careful about what he's thinking. And because of tiptoeing around all of that, will lead to exhaustion and feeling like, oh, it's so hard. Right. So that's why I suggest that when you have this type of situation of fear of offending someone, don't handle it this way because as I said, the fear, like solving any problem out of fear will never lead to anything except overthinking about it, except diluting our messages, except avoiding having the honest conversation with the other person. And the biggest impact I find of handling this way is when we are actually not trusting the other person and their capacity to hear our message and understand it in the way that we intend to. So we are undermining their ability to hear it, ability to understand us, ability to understand our intentions. So we are undermining their capacity. And we are also undermining our capacity of being able to communicate the message in the way that's not offensive, in the way that is well articulated and with the intention of course, not offending, but telling our truth. Right. So these are the biggest problems I want to highlight for you when we are fearing offending someone is actually we are abandoning um, our own honesty or our own trust of being able to convey the message in the way that we intend to, which is absolutely not offending, and our ability or trust also in the other person to receive it in that way. And if let's say they didn't receive it in that way, right? They didn't receive our message in the way that we intend to, which is telling our truth, and they want to still use it as a way to feel hurt or offended or, excuse me, blaming or some other way, then it is their choice. It is their decision to react this way because they have the option of reacting whichever way to our truth. But if they don't want to handle or they don't want to accept our truth, it's on them. So we can't control how other people think. We can't control how other people feel. It's their the however the way they feel comes from however the way they thinking, and however the way they are thinking is how they are perceiving what we intend to say, what we want to say, right? So if they are perceiving in the way that makes them feel offended, then it's on them. And consider this, what if they will receive it that way no matter how we say it or no matter what we say it? Maybe they don't want to hear our truth about what's going on. What are we going to do then? Right? Suppress our truth? Is that really how we want to handle situations? Is that really how we want to build relationships where we're not truthful, where we're not saying our honest things of what's going on in the fear of offending the other person? Is that really how relationships are built? I don't know, but I want you to answer that for yourself. The way that I see it, the way that I want to build relationships is I want to build relationships at workplace or in personal life where I am able to convey my message, my truth, my honesty in the best possible caring way without wanting to offend anyone. Right? This is my intention, this is my trust, and this is how I want to convey my message. Now, if someone decides to perceive it in the way that the other person thinks of it as offensive, I can always apologize, but still, I want to be able to tell my truth of what it is. And I want to trust the other person that they will receive it the way that I intend to. And that's key here is that we need to be able to trust the other person to receive the message the way we intend to, which is never offending the other person. And if they don't, then I let them to think about however the way they want to, because I can't control how other people think, how other people perceive, how other people feel anyway. So that's why the solution that I want to propose to you is whenever you're having this fear of, I may offend someone at work or in the personal relationship, instead of trying to solve that situation and problem from fear of offending, I want you to bring yourself back to trust and bring yourself back to trusting yourself, your ability to convey the message in the way that you intend to, conveying your truth without the intention of offending anyone. And also trusting the other person will receive it the way that you intend to convey it. And that's key. These two elements are key. And if afterwards they decided or they perceived it in the way that they did, we just let them perceive and think whichever the way they want to, because it's their prerogative, right? It's their right to think and perceive however the way they want to. And that way, we have the freedom for ourselves to say things in the best possible caring way out of trust of the truth that we want to convey. And then we trust the others receive that way. And if they don't, we let them have their own freedom to choose to think whatever the way they want to think about what we said or what we did. So this is the solution, my dears. The solution is never acting out of fear. Solution is never acting out of fear of how to tiptoe, how to overthink a lot of the things, how to avoid direct conversations, or how to dilute our message so that we are like going around the bush, or how we are just being so careful what we say that we actually forget what we say. Those are not the solutions. Those are just fear's way of managing over our actions. And that's never going to be an effective solution or solution at all. The best solution, in my experience, that I have seen over and over in my own life, in the life of my clients, is this: is whenever we have this like the message in our heads like, oh, I don't want to offend the other person, if that's coming up, then immediately use that to like say, that means that I want to now explore how can I say what I want to say in the most caring way without intention of offending anyone, but also not offending myself. How can I say it in the trusting way that I can say what I want to say to the other person? And I also trust the other person receive it in the way that I intend to. And if they don't want to, it's okay too, because I have done my best to convey my message in the truthful, honest way. And that can only lead to us not undermining our ability to be able to say things without offending someone. and also not undermining the other person for their ability to receive what we want to say in the way that we intend. And that way we build trust. We build trust with ourselves. We build trust with the other person. And then we also show us that we are capable of creating relationships where we're truthful, where we're honest, that we're not going to carry this resentment, this dishonesty, or this like heaviness with us, but instead, I have done my part of saying things in the most loving or caring, trusting way of what I really want to say. And then I trust the other person to receive it that way. And usually, in my experience, when we do that, the other people also receive it that way because they also are grown ups and they also know that we don't have the intention of offending them. And if they, for some reason, decided to get offended, we can always apologize, but still standing by our truth instead of changing it for the sake of not making the other person offended, so to say. So I really hope that you will give this a try and you will like build up your courage and your bravery to really understand how you can really trust deeply yourself to be saying your truth in the way you want to without the intention of offending, without the intention of hurting anyone. Because I don't think any one of us are like walking around thinking, oh, how can I hurt or offend someone today? I don't think we do that. Like most of us in the mature adult world, I don't think we do that at all. So that's why, like, just keep fearing that we may offend someone and therefore keep manipulating our own behavior in the way that is actually not helpful, but instead harmful, is not going to help anyone. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help the other person. And therefore, let's stop undermining ourselves and undermining the other people's capacity, ability to hear us. So that's why this is what I invite you to do. And of course, come over to coach with me if you are having this issue. And I would love to help you to transition to get to the place where you really trust yourself to be able to say your truth, your honesty to the other person without the intention of offending or hurting anyone. So have an amazing week, everyone, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye.